Hey, this is Ben back here for another draft on CubeTutor site. See what I open. Batter Skull. Wow, this pack is nuts. So got a Mox Emerald, got a Batter Skull, Upheaval, great card to get pack one, pick one, which I've actually done in a couple drafts recently. It's been a blast. And Treachery, which is one of my favorite blue cards and one of the best blue cards to me. So it's three cards. You got the Mox, you got your Batter Skull, and Treachery. If you can believe it, Batter Skull, and I actually want to show this right now. These are the most drafted cards in my cube right now. You got Soul Ring first, Jit second, Time Walk third, Batter Skull is fourth. And that might seem insane to have a card like Batter Skull, just an artifact that was recently printed up number 4 and drafted in the whole cube, but honestly, that's pretty accurate to me. I would not necessarily have it in this order. I would have Soul Ring, then I would have a Library, which is way lower than it should be, right here. And then I would probably have your Time Walk and Ancestral, and then maybe Batter Skull or Jace, just depending. I don't know if taking it over a Mox is always right, but it's such a powerful card. Yes, it just dies to lots of your destroy artifact effects, but if you have mana up, once you untap with it and you keep the mana up, it's just awesome. The life swing is key, and 90% of the draft decks I build, other than when I'm hard aggro, I look at my deck and I'm like, man, this deck would be so much better with a Batter Skull, which might be a little generic to say, but it's just how it ends up. A lot of the times I just look at my deck and I'm like, man, if I could just gain a little life, get me through the late game, I will be set. So, hope you guys can read this okay. Batter Skull is listed fourth there. And back to my actual deck, I think that's what it boils down to, because any given day I would be very happy to slam Mox Emerald or Treachery first pick and be very happy. But Batter Skull is just awesome, and it leaves me open in colors. If I was doing this draft in real life, I would assume the next person would take either the Treachery or the Mox Emerald, just depending on who they were. If I was next to a known blue drafter, they would probably take the Treachery. Mox Emerald's real good. So I'm just going to take Batter Skull. Long explanation for an opening pack, but I'm really glad I didn't take the Treachery after opening a pack like this. I guess I could take Snapcaster Mage. That'd be a great card to follow it up with, just to put me in heavy blue. There's a couple Planeswalkers here. Got Garruk and got Ajani. Ajani is the better Planeswalker, just straight up. Ajani's the better walker to me, but Garruk is a little more flexible in this early going. So it's early, so what do I want to do? And Ajani, speaking of cards that gain you life, his negative ability gains life, which is sweet. So do I want to go into a green-based deck and take Garruk? Or I think it's so early. I'm just going to take Ajani and just try and grab some mana fixing. I'm not going to be super aggro Boros. That's not the plan. I could just be white splashing the Ajani, or I don't know. I have lots of directions I can go. The red deck is usually in my cube. It's designed to be super aggressive. It's not designed to have, like Inferno Titan's the only 6-drop. Then I have like Chandra as a 5-drop, and then I have like 3 other 5-drop creatures, but they're all good curve toppers for aggro. I don't really run the big red deck's really hard to put together in my cube. There's not a lot of pieces for it. So I'm going to just take Ajani, because Ajani's awesome. And I would assume that I would be putting my neighbor into green at this point, passing Garruk. But honestly, in my real-life drafts, Garruk has been going kind of late recently. By kind of late, I mean 4th to 6th, which to me seems pretty low. Again, if Ajani weren't here and I opened this pack, I would first pick Garruk. That seems like a good card to open, passing 3 really good blue cards, well, 2 really good blue cards, and then 3 more middle tier blue cards, plus a card that goes into blue or Tinker decks. So I'm going to take Ajani. Okay. Got some cards here. I feel like after first picking Batter Skull and Ajani, I want to be in more of a control deck. So Path, 1 mana removal spell, is sweet. I got a Wrath effect, and I love Wrath effects probably more than most people, and I think I've discussed this before, but I really love the ability to just clear the board. Once I get to 4 mana, just clear the board and know I can do it consistently. And I don't know if I'm going to end up blue-white. I would guess no, but it's still early. If I end up blue-white and get like a Mystical Tutor, that gives me an extra copy of all my Wraths in my deck, which is sweet. Path is probably a better card than Wrath of God, but here I'm going to take the Wrath just because it's an effect I love so much, and I know it's putting me into more of a control deck, but that's where I think I'm heading anyway. Okay, so no white cards here, no red cards here that combo with Wrath of God, Batterskull, and a Johnny. I mean, neither of these cards are where I want to be. So what do I want to do here? The best card in the pack is Consecrated Sphinx. I love Thragtusk. If I had taken the Garruk earlier, I would slam the Thragtusk here. Braids is a great card, but that's not where I am. Chromatic Lantern helps to fix my mana. I think it's early enough. I could still be blue-white control. I could still be blue-white splashing a Johnny, maybe an Earthquake effect. So I'm just going to take Consecrated Sphinx. And if this were real life, I'd have been passing some sweet blue cards, but I guess you're always passing sweet blue cards in cube drafts. So I'd be putting my neighbor into blue. But I would still think, even if you have 5 people in an 8-man draft in blue, you can usually still get enough cards if it's your second color to make it work. So I'm going to take the big finisher. So starting off a draft with 4-drop, 4-drop, 5-drop, and 6-drop is really good, right? So there's a late Garruk. Wow. If I had taken the other Garruk, then I would take this Garruk also and be very happy. But I didn't. So what am I going to take? I think the ship has sailed. I don't think I want to move into green at this point. I could take a Mimic Vat. He's great. Mimic Vat's great with the Wrath effects. And if I end up, getting the white value creatures like Blade Splicer, or getting like your Mole Drifters, or just any creature of your opponents that you killed. It doesn't combo great with blue in general, because blue generally counters and bounces stuff. But it combos well with the Wrath effects, or if you have the removal spells. So, but I have run Mimic Vat even in blue decks. Like it makes it in more often than, it's just a sweet card. So I could take Force Spike and kind of move into a little more blue. Thalia is not what I want to do after having 1 creature out of 4 cards. So I think it boils down to Force Spike or Mimic Vat. And again, this is similar to the Ajani pick in that I want to stay a little more flexible and just take the better card. And I think Mimic Vat is better than Force Spike. Okay, so big red card, Devil's Play, Geist to Saint Traft. That's a way to actually put pressure on your opponent in the blue-white deck. I do have Misty Rainforest. That's worth noting, especially if Breeding Pool was in a different pack. So I could just take the Misty Rainforest. I don't know if I want to take Geist to Saint Traft here. Like, I'm not shaping up to be a deck that wants to... I'm not shaping up to be blue-white tempo. However, Geist does combo really well with Mimic Vat. Because I'm going to attack with the Geist, it's going to die, and then I can put it on Mimic Vat, and then every turn swing for pretty much 4 guaranteed damage. So, do I want to go that deep here? It blocks so poorly, and it looks like that's where I'm a little soft right now is in the early game. So I need to get some fast mana, I need to get some cheaper guys, some guys with First Strike, just to keep me alive till I can get to that magical 4 mana to Wrath, or Batterskull at 5. I think I'm going to take the land here. I'm not sure if this is the right pick, but I want to take the land early just because the mana is going to be so important looking at my casting costs already. So City of Brass, the green deck is just right here this draft. Man, Vorapede, Deranged Hermit, but I'm not doing that. I could take Seagate Oracle, or I could take City of Brass. Seagate Oracle is this 3-drop, draws me a card, one of my top 2 cards. I'm just going to take the land. I love City of Brass, and I love a little less the Gemstone Mine and the Grand Coliseum. City of Brass is my favorite, though. Yeah, I'll take the damage, especially with my Batterskull and my Ajani to gain it right back. Okay, so there's another 6-drop. The 6-drop blue section is a little crowded in the cube. Well, actually, there's only like 4 or 5. There's not a ton. Aetherlane's in here now, which has been nothing short of ridiculous in just the short time it's been in the cube. But I think I'm going to take Core Skyfisher here. Hopefully I can get a good target to bounce back, but I'm not really lacking for finishers with 3 really good finishers already. So I'll just take the 2-drop. So here's the wheel, and big ol' nothing. Nothing that I want Grim Lavamancer wheeled for the red deck. I don't think I want to splash Grim Lavamancer. I'm just going to take the Chainer's Edict. Just keep myself open in case I want to move into Esper and I get enough mana fixing to still run a Johnny. And I guess I could still just be... I don't have to be blue just because I took Consecrated Sphinx. I could still just be White black, splash red. Black cards really haven't been flowing in pack 1, but I'm going to take the Edict here. So Bane of the Living, another heavy black card. I think I'm just going to take the land. I don't want to take Show and Tell. I could take this land. I'm just going to take the white black land. So with to stay as open as I can, I'm just going to take the land again. I don't really facing down this card or facing down Reckless Charge would be bad, but it's early and I don't know where I'm going to be, so I'll just take the land. So Scroll Rack, Willbender. I'm not happy about these last few picks. Have not been very exciting. Sure, I'll take. I'm not going to play Blood Scrivener. I'm going to take Nether Void. I don't want to play against that card. And Devil's Play. No, I'm just going to take the Cryptologist. Let's move to pack 2. So, Watery Grave. Got Vertin Catacombs. I have a green-blue fetch already. Man, Thrun. If I was a green deck, I'd take Thrun and be very happy. Could take Rolling Earthquake. I don't think I'm going to be heavy blue enough to run Cryptic. I really only have one blue card I'm really happy with. A Cryptologist is fine. Similarly, that's one of the least drafted cards in my cube. It's on like my bottom 30 list or whatever, which I thought was interesting. But honestly, at this point, I'm not really married to any color, am I? That's really interesting. I could still just move into green if I wanted to, but assuming this was a real-life draft, I would get cut green from the left side. So I think I'm just going to take the Rolling Earthquake. It rasps the board and gets me some sweet targets for the Mimic Vat and just a second Wrath effect. Wow. Okay. This pack is bonkers. Got 2 swords to choose from. Got Ancestral and Mana Drain. And seeing Ancestral second pick is always disappointing on this website, but it happens from time to time. It's just part of the deal when you draft with the bots. Ancestral's the pick here, no question. Mana Drain is nuts. The swords are awesome, but three for ones for 1 mana is just awesome. So pack 3, got O-Rain, I got Liliana, Go for the Throat, Burn Spell. I could just start taking lots of burn spells and go there, but I think I'm going to take the O-Rain. Can combo with Cork Skyfisher if I see a better target for it. That's not the best use for Cork Skyfisher, but here we are. Let's take O-Rain. So here's Venser. Venser Mimic Vat. That is awesome. It's happened before, and it's just sweet. I've also done Mimic Vat Mystic Snake. That's a blast. Just being able to counter any of their spells is awesome. So I got to take Baby Jace. I don't like Baby Jace nearly as much as some drafters do. Like some of the drafters at my store are really big fans of Baby Jace, and it's fine, but it wouldn't even make my top 10 Planeswalkers. So I could take Exalted Angel. I'm still not married to blue. I could still just be like white-red control-ish, something. So maybe I want to focus white as my main color, and Exalted Angel is another great target for Mimic Vat. I know I keep coming back to Mimic Vat, but it's just that's one of the benefits of getting to pick 5 so early is every other card I get can just combo with it. I guess I really haven't taken any since then, but that's all right. So I'm going to take the Exalted Angel because I feel like white's going to be one of my main colors, and I just want to keep going down that road. Okay, Enlightened Tutor to fetch my Batterskull. Sundering Titan's great, but Enlightened Tutor fetches Batterskull, so I'm going to take Enlightened Tutor. Cloudgoat Ranger. Man, green deck. Cloudgoat Ranger, Brimstone Volley. I could still just be white-red and just start taking all these removal spells. Cloudgoat Ranger is another Mimic Vat target. I'm going to take Cloudgoat Ranger. I need to really get some mana because I'm really, really top-heavy so far. Okay, Precinct Captain. Thirst for Knowledge, Moloku. Phyrexian Revoker. Something I can get with Enlightened Tutor. So I think it comes down to, am I going to be heavy wide enough to want a Precinct Captain? Maybe, but I don't think I will still want it. I could do Thirst for Knowledge to dig a little deeper. I think I'm just going to take Phyrexian Revoker. It's a 2-drop. I'm going to play it. And, or worst case, I'll just side it against the aggro decks, and I can shut down Planeswalkers with it, at least temporarily. So, last pack that I'm going to see in pack 2, and nothing exciting. What card? I'm not going to play any of these. I guess I could. I don't take Wheel of Fortune. Ugh. I guess I'm going to take. Yeah, I'm going to take Wheel of Fortune. Ugh. I'm not very happy with that pack. Let's see what wheeled. Torchfiend wheeled. Hinterland Harbor. Knight of Meadowgrain. I think I'm going to take the Knight of Meadowgrain. I think that's, if I'm heavy white enough, and it's got me the lifelink, which is going to get me to my late game. Flinthoof Board's a recent addition to the cube. Chaos Warp, but I have ways to deal with permanents that red normally struggle with, like I have O-Ring and Wrath of God. So I can kill big stuff and kill walkers, or deal with walkers, where red normally struggles with that. That being said, I don't really want any of these cards. Which, I guess I'll just take the Chaos Warp, sure. This draft is not going as great as I was hoping. Ooh, there's a good Mimic Vat target. Gilded Drake. Could take Eternal Dragon, but I don't have any other alternate planes that I can grab with it. I do have the white-black land, Caves, but can't grab that with Eternal Dragon. It comes down to that or Gilded Drake. How many ways do I have to deal with my own Gilded Drake? I have Cloudgoat Ranger, which would trade with it. I have Exalted Angel, which would beat it. I have Wrath or a Johnny, which could kill it. Yeah, and I think the Mimic Vat, I don't know if I'm going to run it, but I'm going to take the Gilded Drake. Nothing I want here. I'll take Lightning Greaves. Ooh, big finisher. Simic Sky Swallower. I'm not going to play any of these cards, but I'll take that one. Catastrophe, 14th pick. Yeah, that seems to happen sometimes. I'm not going to play Cloister Goose, so I'll take Catastrophe. And, wow, 2 Simic cards out of the last 3 picks. So what am I looking for when I go into pack 3? At this point, I am white for sure, and then I'm like America. I'm white as my main color, and then blue-red, red-blue is my second colors, but I'm still pretty flexible. This draft is just okay. I'm going to need a good pack 3 to make it something really good. Like a Jit. Good at this game. Get past Ancestral, open Batterskull, open Jit. Yeah, real good. Cards I would like to wheel. There's really only, like, I would take a Lingering Souls on the wheel. I would take Searing Spirit or Mana Leak. Those are the 3 cards I would be happy to wheel out of this pack. But I'm going to slam Jit. Alright, Gemstone Mine. I'm really, what are the lands I have if I decide to go America? I have Misty Rainforest. I have City of Brass. And no and then. Okay. So I really need this land. So I'm going to just take the Gemstone Mine. Yes, it's a second pick Gemstone Mine, a land that disappears, but I really need it. Okay. Sublime Archangel is a great card. Silverblade Paladin's usually pretty good. I could take Lightning Helix, because I'm definitely splashing red in this deck. I just got to make sure I get enough, lands to do that. I could take the Electrolyze. That's on my second 2 colors. I think I'm going to take the Archangel, just give myself another flyer. Maybe I can still snag a Moat. I mean, this deck actually is a pretty good deck to deal with. If I have my own Moat, this deck is really good. I know it's getting late. This is, 3rd pick? So the odds of seeing one are pretty low, but this would be a great Moat deck. So, there's the Mystical Tutor I was talking about earlier, Goblin Welder. How many things can I weld? I have Batterskull Mimic Vat, Scroll Rack, Revoker, that's 4, Jit 5. The only one of those I'd really be happy to get rid of is, the Scroll Rack or the Revoker, so I guess that's not bad. So, do I just take the Clifftop Retreat? That might be the better pick here. Maybe the Welder will come back still. I think I just gotta take the land. I'm really, really light on the mana fixing. I just need to take the land. Alright, Godless Shrine I don't need. What do I have? What are my fetches? I have green-blue fetch, and I didn't take the other one, did I? Nope. Alright, so that doesn't help me at all. I take Revelark. I can take a land tax. That helps fix my land. Revelark. What creatures do I have to bring back with Revelark? Knight of Meadowgrain and Revoker. I'm not going to play Cryptologist. Of course, Skyfisher. To combo with Revelark. I don't know. Yeah, not a lot of great targets for Revelark. I'm going to take land tax here. I'm not super excited to run land tax typically, but this deck feels like land tax would be okay. Metamorph. Hey, all right. It was in the bottom corner, so I didn't see it till last. Yeah, that card's real good. For 3 mana and 2 life, I can copy any creature, or on the rare occasion, copy a Batterskull. I have lived the 2 Batterskull dream before, and it's nothing short of amazing. Yeah, having out 2 Batterskulls, my opponent's just like, how do I win? I'm like, yeah, you don't. So that's the fun part about playing Cube. You can have 2 Batterskulls out at once. So I'm going to take Phyrexian Metamorph. Really need to get some lands in these last couple picks. And there are no lands here. I am going to take Lone Missionary. It's a decent Mimic Vat target, and it's a great card against aggro and just a guy. Just a 2-drop to play that I can equip with Jit. I don't have any other equipment except for Batterskull, so. And Temple Garden. I can fetch, this is worth considering, because I can fetch the Temple Garden with the Misty Rainforest. So the Misty would fetch my main color, because the white, and would still fetch me my blue. Man, this deck is kind of all over the place. How many playables do I actually have? I'm going to start with the left column. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I guess. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I'm at like 21 playables. So, I mean, even if I don't get too many more, I think I'm okay. Good enough to just take the land here. That's the better play. Wasteland, that's exactly what my deck needs. So, yeah, colorless lands, that's exactly what I need. I think I just take the Wrath here, because I do have Rolling Earthquake and I have 1 regular Wrath. But taking Supreme Verdict is better than an Earthquake. Wasteland is fine, but my mana is going to be a little shaky, so I don't. This is really late Wasteland, but I think it illustrates how people are valuing this when they're drafting my cube online. But I'm going to just take the Wrath here. I feel a lot better with a second Wrath. If I can just get to 4 mana, I should be able to Earthquake things away or play one of my 2 Wrath effects. So Lingering Souls Wield, and none of the other cards I wanted did. So how many ways do I have to flash back Lingering Souls? I think I probably will play the Caves, and then I'll have the Gemstone Mine. I'm not going to run any basic swamps, so I have 2. So that's not the worst. But Lingering Souls, even just the front side, it's just a good card. Like I take that card pretty highly a lot, and in a lot of my slower, like it fits really well in a lot of my slower decks like this, just because it can just chump block, or I can fly over Moat or something like that. It really does well. Even with only 2 black sources, it's still going to be good. All right, can't go really deep and take Time Spiral. I'm not there. Mother of Runes. That might be a good way to stave off some early beats, and then the late game be able to break through and get some sweet damage in. I think I want it more than another 6-drop. I feel already top heavy a lot. I guess I'm not super top heavy. It just feels that way. So I'm going to take Mother of Runes, just a 1-drop I can play. Yeah. Ooh, here's the Electrolyze. That came back. Yeah, and that's the pick here. I mean, I'm not running any of these other cards. I don't want to play against the Orangutan, and I don't have any counter spells, which is unfortunate. So my opponent plays these cards, I just lose my awesome stuff. So I'm going to take Electrolyze here. Ooh, another double white card, but it does at least temporarily deal with artifacts or enchantments. And now that I look at my deck, how many ways do I actually have to deal with artifacts or enchantments? I have O-Ring. I have O-Ring. Okay. So, again, I just don't need a Stormfront Pegasus. I like him, but I'm just going to take the Warder. Squee. Don't have ways to really abuse Squee. I guess I'll just take the Edict, sure. Ooh, okay. Seal of Cleansing. Probably not starting it, but it can come out of the board. Last pick, Voice of Resurgence. And Glorious Anthem, another one of the least drafted cards in my cube. Alright. So, let's build my deck. This deck is just meh. It's got some cool synergies with it, but overall it's just meh. Like I would not be surprised to sit down and go 2-2 with a deck like this. That wouldn't surprise me. Okay, these are all the cards I'm considering running. Let me scope in a little. Alright, so 28 cards, and I got some lands I'm going to use. So white's my core color, so I'm splashing blue. I don't want to splash Cryptologist, that's just not good. Gilded Drake, I didn't get enough burn spells, but I still feel like Gilded Drake's interactions with like a Mimic Vat, being able to wrath it away or anything like that, or just take their best creature is still going to be good enough. So I think I can run, this might be an 18 land deck, we'll have to see. So what are my cuts? I feel like cutting Scroll Rack is fine. I only have 13 creatures. I want to make sure my creature count stays as high as it can for the JIT. So I think I'm going to cut the Seal. Puts me to 25. Do I need a Catastrophe? Like really? I mean, I want to run 17 lands. Because I am a little heavy on, well, not little. I'm fours or, I got 5 4-drops, but I only have 4 guys, 4 things, 5 or 6. So that's not that many. Especially if I cut Catastrophe. I already have multiple effects. And I do have some ways to take advantage of the Destroy All Lands part, but not a lot where I'm going to feel like I'm going to be way ahead on board. Like I don't have multiple Planeswalkers. I mean, I have Batterskull and I have Consecrated Sphinx, but that's not... I don't think I'm going to have enough of an overwhelming advantage to be able to play Catastrophe successfully. So that puts me to 24. So how many red cards do I have? Well, that's good news. I only have 3 red cards, and they're all great late game. Electrolyze, Rolling Earthquake, and a Johnny Vengeance. Electrolyze, the least good card in the late game. So I'm heavy. So I'm like white. I'm a white deck, splash, blue-red. Like my blue cards, I have Ancestral, Gilded Drake, Electrolyze, it's 3, and Consecrated Sphinx, and the Verdict. So I have 5? Is that right? Yep, 5 blue cards. So 5 blue cards, 3 red cards, the rest are white. Electrolyze, maybe Electrolyze is the cut, because it's my 2 splash. Let's look at my land. Alright. So, yeah, we're in the caves. And Misty can fetch Temple Garden and white. I wish I had like a Volcanic Island. So I still need to cut a card. So looking at my mana, let's start by counting the white sources. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is how I've been doing it, just to have a visual aid when I'm doing this. Blue sources, Gemstone, City, Misty, 3. Red sources, Clifftop, Gemstone, City, so 3. So I'm going to add 11 basic lands, and those are my sources by default, is 6, 3, 3. So I think cutting... Okay. So I'm going to add 11 sources. Sorry, guys. Sometimes I gotta get fabulous with the notepad here. So I'm 6, 3, 3, right? And I'm going to run 11 basics. So if I run like 5, 3, 3, that would put me to 11, 6, 6 as my mana sources. Again, red's a very light splash. I do have Consecrated Sphinx, so I might need to go like 5, 4, 2. That would put me to 11, 7, 5. Do I need to go up to 12 sources? Maybe Electrolyze is the cut, because that's going to be off both my splash colors, or not splash, both my secondary colors, and it's not going to be as good late. Yeah, and I already have Wrath effects. I think I can cut Electrolyze. I think that's fine. So if I go 5, 4, 2, can I get away with just 1 mountain? Because I'm down to 2 red cards. Is that right? Yeah. So I can get away with 1 mountain, go up to 6 of those. So that'll give me 12, 7, 4. 12 white sources. 7 blue sources. And 4 red sources. I'm only running 2 red cards, and they're both good late. So this 6-4-1 split seems pretty good. So interesting that white is my main color by far, but I'm only running 2 more basics, but that's because all of these get white. So that's my deck. Not my best effort, to be honest. It does have some raw power in Ancestral, Batterskull, Jit. I mean, those are just some raw power cards that are just going to steal some games on their own. The decks that concern me most is just getting run over without, and I'll draw in all my late stuff. I do have some good interactions with the Mimic Vat. Relic Warder not so much, but like Gilded Drake with Mimic Vat would be awesome. Phyrexian Metamorph with Mimic Vat would be awesome. Exalted Angel because it comes back unmorphed. Cloud Goat Ranger, Consecrated Sphinx. I do have lots of good targets, plus I'm going to Wrath away their best guys. So overall, I mean, I would expect a 2-2, and I could maybe 3-1 with this deck. It just depends on how my draws were and how my matchups were, but not my best effort, but yeah, it's fine. So that is my America deck, or pretty much mono white splash blue red.